Kirby Smart and the Dogs hit a home run in the transfer portal over the weekend when they signed one of the best running backs in the transfer portal in Josh McCrae. He is a 6'1", 235-pound back who led Illinois in rushing last season. Now, I know this is not breaking news. This happened on Sunday night, Easter night. The Dogs, again, hit a home run in the portal. They added 3 big-time prospects, one on the defensive line, one on the edge, and Josh McCrae at running back. Of course, you can read all about these guys and more over on dawgpost.com. We had that story up on Sunday night, and I think all 3 of them should play a decent bit this fall. I think the defensive lineman, Josh Horton, will probably just provide more depth. I think the kid they signed out of Army on the edge, Elo Mendozi, always keep blanking on that name for whatever reason. I think he's going to play a lot as well, but I think Georgia fans are most excited about Josh McCrae, and it's easy to see why. Again, he brings a lot of power, a lot of size, and I think he's the perfect complementary back to Nate Frazier, who is more of that shifty, elusive back, right? Now, he's over 200 pounds as well, but he does bring a little bit more speed than McCrae does. But again, this is a guy that has experience. He was Illinois' leading rusher last year, carried the ball 117 times for 609 yards, 10 touchdowns, and he saved his best game of the season at the end against the South Carolina Gamecocks in the world-famous Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. If you watched it, I remember thinking South Carolina should win that ball game, but McCrae and Illinois, they came out fighting, and they won that game at the end, and McCrae was a big reason why. He had big run after big run in the second half and into the fourth quarter, and he was, I think, the biggest reason why they won that game. He was Cheez-It Bowl MVP, an honor that I don't think anyone could think of a better honor than the Cheez-It MVP, right? The Heisman Trophy is great, but Cheez-It Bowl MVP, it doesn't get much better than that. He ran for 114 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he helped seal the win. And again, this is a guy who can get tough yards. He's probably not breaking away. He can still run for, a 30, 40-yard gain, right? He runs really well, actually, for a guy over 230 pounds. But this is a tackle breaker. You're not going to tackle this guy high. He's going to get tough yards, and you need a back like that. There aren't many plays where you say, okay, we need a 50-yard run here. No, 3rd and 3, 4th and 2, 4th and 1, right? Short yardage downs anytime they're around the goal line. This is a guy that they can depend on. And as we talked about basically all spring long, right? Georgia was banged up at running back last year. They're still banged up. Branson Robinson had to hit the portal. Roger Robinson, another bigger bowling ball type of back. He's still on the roster, but he's been banged up. I still think when he's healthy, he is going to be a weapon for them. No doubt about it. But we always ask the question, who is going to be Georgia's number 2? Nate Frazier still feels like he's going to be the lead back, right? He's RB1. He's the guy who's going to get the most touches. Chauncey Bowens had a nice spring. We saw a little bit of him during G-Day. He actually had a nice catch out of the backfield, a little shake and bake. He's another guy, 220 pounds, but he showed some elusiveness and the ability to make guys miss in the open field. I think he would have been a fine, serviceable number 2 back if he was the guy to get the second most carries. But Josh McCrae, again, there's a reason why they brought him in. They needed a number 2 back that they can rely on, who brings experience, who brings power, who brings toughness. Not saying that the other guys can't, but this guy's done it before. And he, again, ran for 114 yards against a solid South Carolina defense that did a good job of stopping the run last year. And this is a guy who breaks tackles consistently. You have to have those type of backs. Give me a tackle breaker over a speed demon all day long, especially in today's era of college football where linebackers are faster. They're more athletic. You're getting quality guys in the trenches just about every weekend you play, right? You have to have guys who fall forward at the end of runs, who can get those tough yards between the tackles. I mean, Nate Frazier he brings a lot of speed, a lot of explosiveness, but he had, 1-2 carries last year that went over 40, 50 yards, right? I think he'll have more of those opportunities next fall, but speed is great. Give me the power. Give me the toughness, right? And sometimes speed goes along with that, and you need that complement. You need that thunder and lightning, and I think Georgia might have that with Nate Frazier and Josh McCrae, who, again, when they needed him the most, when he was healthy, he showed that he was a real weapon. Now, he's kind of battled through some injuries at Illinois, but they love him. Brett Bielema, a guy who loves to run the football, right, and have a running back tote the rock. He loved this guy. And against South Carolina, again, just 13 carries, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns. That was his final game at Illinois. He ended last season on a big note, entered the portal, and Kirby Smart says, that's our guy. That's what we need. We need another strong number 2 back who can complement Nate Frazier and give us a little bit of something different. A guy who can, again, break tackles against quality defenses. And again, you're not tackling this guy up high. I mean, you have to wrap up soundly. You have to be fundamentally sound, have good technique when wrapping up if you want to bring Josh McCrae down to the ground. And again, he's a weapon around the goal line, short yardage situations. This is a guy who can bring that to you. So will we see Chauncey Bowens? Sure, we'll see him a little bit here and there. Bo Walker, a guy who has a lot of hype, right? 3-star incoming freshman, a guy who had a really big spring. He's a guy that, we'll still probably see in the fall, and we'll still see Cash Jones, who's still more of a receiving back. I think last year he had more receptions than he had carries, but he can make plays out of the backfield, but more as a receiver. They needed another running back in a big way. And Dwight Phillips is that speed guy too, and they can get him on those end arounds. He might be able to help in the screen game, but that's not an in-between the tackles runner. He's not picking up a lot of yards behind the guard or the tackle, right? Behind the center, right? Those tough yards, that's Josh McCrae all day long. And so, and we saw Nate Frazier do some of that, right? He had the game-winning touchdown against Georgia Tech between the tackles. He brings some size as well, but he's still a different back than Josh McCrae. But this guy's got a nasty stiff arm. He runs behind his pads. He can lower his shoulder. He's not afraid of contact, and he can drive defenders, for that extra yard or two. And if you need to wear down a defense, that's what this guy does. You bring him in, get him more carries in the second half and in the fourth quarter when defenses are starting to wear down. They're tough. They're tired of tackling. You give this 230-plus pound back the ball and say, hey, finish this game off. That's what they did against South Carolina, and he was able to get the job done. And he also broke off a really nice long run at the end of the game. So, again, he's not slow. He's not running in molasses. This guy can pick him up and put him down in the open field, but just so tough to bring down. And we talked about it in other videos. Georgia needs another running back from the portal. If they can get one that's good enough to play at Georgia, Josh McCrae is that guy. And I heard a little bit about him in high school. He went to Enterprise High School in Alabama. Heard some rumblings about him. He was an easy power forward guy, and has had a really nice career at Illinois when healthy. Now in his final season, he'll be strapping it up for the Dogs, and I think we're going to see a lot of him. I get why Georgia fans are excited about him, and he's going to bring an element that they need, right? Roderick Robinson could be that guy, but he can't stay healthy. So now they bring in a guy who, if he can stay healthy, should be a nice little player. And again, we're going to see multiple backs, right? When Georgia's at their best, they've got like 3 or 4 guys that they're rotating. In 2021, it was obviously James Cook, Zamir White, but Kendall Milton still got carries. They still had Kenny McIntosh helping out a little bit. They still had Dacian Edwards. And then in 2022, they had the 3, right? It's great to have 1 star. It's even better to have 2. Georgia has to have 2 running backs, but you're at your best when you have 3. So, I mean, there's not a number where you say, okay, we're okay at running back. No, you got to bring in as many as possible. And in 2022, they had Kendall Milton, Dacian Edwards, and Kenny McIntosh, and they've kind of fallen off. Last year, they just had 2, Trevor Etienne and a freshman, Nate Frazier. Now, Nate Frazier's got some help. I think he'll take a step forward. I think Josh McCrae is obviously that guy, right? An experienced power back. And if Roderick Robinson can stay healthy, that guy should play. Chauncey Bowens proved during G-Day in this spring that he probably deserves to get some carries. And then Bo Walker as well. I mean, he's only going to get better. Still a freshman, still behind some guys, but he's not going to be on the bench for very long. So, they're stacking up with running backs, and now it's up to the offensive line to help them out a little bit. If the offensive line can take a step forward, especially in the run game, we're going to see a lot of big runs from Nate Frazier. We're going to see a lot of big-time tough runs from Josh McCrae. And if he breaks a tackle or 2, especially in the open field, he's really tough to bring down once he gets going. So I thought it was a home run pickup for the Dogs. They're still adding pieces. They're still getting better, and they got a lot better on Sunday night, both on defense and in the running back room. So they've got a new weapon and a guy that I think we are going to see a significant amount of this fall. So I'm a big Josh McCrae guy, and I think if you're a Georgia fan, you should be too. Big time pickup, no doubt about it. You can call it a home run if you want. That's what I'm calling it. The Dogs have another running back who's going to be a big-time player this fall. Thanks for watching. You can read more about this and more over on dawgpost.com. That's where we want to see you. But hope you learned something in this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you over on the website.